For Lithuania, all the ministers. First, today's agenda. What key questions do you see when talking about Ukraine and Russia?
Well, the main question, of course, is support for Ukraine so that during the ongoing negotiation process, support for Ukraine does not decrease and is maintained and further strengthened. And here, obviously, loans from allies are also important. The question is important because it's financially crucial to ensure the continued support of the European promise, the European Union's promise regarding 2,155,000 ammunition, to achieve that, and I think we are in a good situation here, but we still need to make an effort and finish generating it within a month. And in this place, we are also contributing, and this year alone, we have provided Ukraine with support in the context of this initiative up to 13 to 14,000. Well, and of course, further discussions about the EU mission, the training mission in Ukraine, and its certain restructuring effectiveness, since it is successful, it is important to continue. We know how long it already takes for the EU. All issues are being considered. The current context in which the meeting takes place, well, the possible peace negotiations, when there is intensification.
Do you feel that European partners are also hurrying more? Or that it's about the same support, assistance? The use of frozen assets precisely. They say, let's wait a bit. See how it will end?
Well, these are not easy discussions, as we know. But everyone understands that financial support is very important for Ukraine. Since throughout the year, a significant financial package of up to 130 to 140 billion is needed, it is evident that this is a very strong financial resource that could be used here and now, because the countries contribute, but finding such resources so quickly is not so simple. Thus, as the news suggests, there are instruments in Europe that we will discuss today. This is the so-called ESM mechanism, in which Lithuania also requests loans. And here too the possibilities are being evaluated, and the countries that take part, how they could contribute to Ukraine. There is also the so-called EDP, which is the European Defence Industries Programme for multi-year financial perspective. And here too a part for Ukraine, that is there are additional instruments, which are also important for the European Union countries to see, utilize, and assist Ukraine.
Speaking about the CEF program, yesterday was the deadline for countries to submit their projects. What Lithuania submitted? For how much?
We have submitted projects, about 50 projects, that should be funded. And part of them, of course, will be national, since they are national. The exemption is still valid until the end of May next year. And also, of course, international projects. One of the goals is to support the European defence industry, as it is also one of SAFO's objectives. So, we have submitted, and we will continue to work since the European Commission's evaluation will also start. And then I will proceed with the Council decisions, and by the time we reach the spring months, it will be possible to expect those so-called advance payments, as most of the funding will be achieved in the second half of next year.
Oh, I understand that perhaps you cannot disclose them in detail, but they are focused on acquiring equipment for dual purpose.
Specifically, we are mostly focused on the development of our division, the national division, and the largest ones. Contracts, there's no secret here, like the tank contracts or contracts for infantry coffee machines. These are billion-dollar contracts that certainly fall into the SAFO funds and will need to be financed. Also, other things, such as defense systems or drones, anti-drone systems, also very importantly ammunition, because we understand well that we can acquire those platforms. But ammunition of various calibers will be very important as well. For our acquired vehicles, both tanks and infantry fighting vehicles, but also for other things, and anti-tank combat systems and so on.
The minister, yesterday again in the evening, was in Vilnius. The airport's operations were suspended, and now there is speculation about whether it will be closed today or not. We heard the Prime Minister saying that, well, balloons were flying and will most likely continue to fly. Should we all look at it this way? Or are there some measures that can still be taken to address that?
Today, we will also raise this as a separate question regarding this situation. And one of our positions will be that we will request certain innovative solutions, as we fully understand that this is not a technologically simple issue. For example, the landing of these balloons, and we are working together with Lithuanian businesses and various companies, as well as the Lithuanian military, are working to explore what possible solutions exist. So this testing is ongoing, but as I mentioned, there are currently no miraculous solutions here. And currently there are none, but we are actively working on it. So, as I mentioned, today we will raise the question of innovative solutions. Another matter will definitely be about political pressure and solidarity from the European Union, so that we too to pressure the Belarusian side. And of course, there is also the matter of sanctions, which mostly falls under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
What are those innovative possible measures, sir?
Well, we understand that our aim, especially from the perspective of the aviation safety system, is primarily to try to bring those balloons down, and we understand here that technically it is quite a significant challenge, as those balloons rise very high and shooting them down is technically difficult at such altitude, especially with the current weather conditions, when there are fluctuations and so on. So, well, we are trying and evaluating all kinds of solutions and, well, we have employed also the support of partners and are evaluating what our closest ally can offer.
And what kind of time frame are we talking about here? After a couple of weeks, after a month, after half a year, can those technologies be TR?
No, they are happening and now, we are already trying this. And, how to say, it's work that happens every day. And it will continue until we find those solutions, given the situation. There isn't, perhaps, such a so-called magical solution in the world right now to implement them. Right here and now, because, well, there are certain risks involved. So our aim is to find the best possible way to expedite the process.
And the Deputy Minister, since there was no opportunity to arrange today's schedule, why are you here instead of the Minister?
Well, as you know, a Belgian soldier tragically died, and the minister stayed in Lithuania because of it. To really help and also express solidarity and support for the Belgian soldiers in this difficult situation and assist everyone involved. To truly express solidarity and gratitude to our Belgian allies. And we will also express this today both here and in Brussels.
Which points in this plan you think it's negotiable? It's something you can build on?
Our position is that we have to achieve long-lasting and just peace, and let's say elements which may tend and which may think or allow to think us that would not, bring into that long-lasting and just peace. So that would be, contradictory to the possible this let's say agreement. So let's see how it goes. But in the end, it is very important that Ukraine stands strong, that we maintain a strong support for Ukraine. That Ukraine remains territorial with territorial integrity, and also very important that in those let's say negotiations Europe would have voice, because that obviously has a direct consequence to European security, all the situation and how it evolves. And of course, let's say Ukraine has to have means to, let's say, also to safeguard its security after this whole agreement. So let's go. Yeah.
Could you comment on the ongoing provocation from the territory of Belarus and Lithuania? And what Lithuania is going to do with that?
On this Belarus situation. So this is, as you know, already lasting for, let's say, in this intensive active phase for a couple of months. And we see that this is hybrid activity against Lithuania, because it's very would be otherwise difficult to think, because that affects very directly our activity of our airport, and it is not allowable, so to say, to have, every day and every night to have a closure of airport. So we have really to, from our side, we are taking national measures how to deal with that situation, meaning from technical point of view, and trying to confront and, let's say, the balloons, but also comes here the political, let's say, pressure, sanctions, solidarity, and that's what we're going to discuss today as well.